So the purpose of the Veritas Forum this evening is to explore the intersections and the relationship between science and religious faith. You know, science and religion represent two great realms of knowledge that have shaped the human experience throughout history. And all of us at some point are going to make some sort of a decision about our understanding of the relationship between religious faith and science and the validity of the claims that each one of those makes.
First off, how did you hear about Veritas Forum and what brought you here tonight?
I heard about it from a friend, and I was just kind of curious. It sounded like a really interesting concept. Two very intelligent, well-read, very professional individuals with differing viewpoints who would talk about it in a professional and equitable manner.
I was raised Catholic, so science wasn't really a big thing in my house, but I'm definitely all about the science, and I totally all for scientific proof and everything. So I'm kind of more on the science side, I guess, now.
I believe that science and faith are totally compatible, that you can be a Christian or a Muslim or a Jew and believe, that science is real, and they don't have to conflict.
I wouldn't say that I have any strongly held beliefs. I would consider myself agnostic. I'm currently exploring my faith and different ideas, different theories. So I wouldn't feel strongly in either direction. That's why I find the topic very fascinating, and I'm very interested in seeing how the discussion plays out.
I identify as Christian, but I also think that Christianity and science go hand in hand, that God created a very complicated universe, and that even with the science we have today, we don't understand it, and that's why science is going to still be important into the future.
I'm a physiology major, and I do believe in hard physical data. So I guess I'm really curious to see the interplay between the two speakers tonight. I'm curious if the physicists will have anything to say about actually hard data to prove things of religion.
I'm basically just here to hear kind of two different opinions on the same issue and weigh them and see, I don't know, which one makes more sense, and just to see different perspectives on things.
And so my suggestion is that acting in accordance with a view of the world, which is plausible but unproven, like such people, is acting on faith. And I think that religious faith is quite simply the same principle applied to matters of God and the Spirit.
My answer is that one needs to look at the evidence on both sides, see which evidence is weightier. When one does that, I think it's very likely that one's conclusion will be that one should go with the scientifically based view, whereas the fact that the world is full of conflicting faith-based or religious beliefs strongly suggests that religious believers probably do not have good evidence for those beliefs. Or if they did have good evidence, why would they not be able to convince other people? Thank you very much.
After hearing everything, is there one question that you take away for yourself that you want answered or that you want to look into more deeply?
I think as far as, considering my own beliefs more deeply, is just finding opportunities to, again, look at a situation and consider both sides of it, consider how is this something that can be spiritual but also, scientifically understood at the same time.
Well, being a Christian myself, one of the most challenging things that was actually brought up through question was the free will and God's plan for you, just how those two work together. And it was kind of interesting hearing how both doctors didn't really have a definite answer for it.
Ian Hutchinson mentioned that in relation to miracles, science can't really investigate them the same way that science can investigate other things because they aren't consistent. And I think that's kind of a flawed viewpoint that wasn't really touched on in that, if you were to come from a time before now, say, even 1950, and look at an iPhone, this would be magical. This would be a miracle. And if you chose to investigate it as a miracle, you would not understand it, and you wouldn't come to the same conclusions and develop the scientific understanding. So I think that's a flawed viewpoint that leads to ignorance.
I think the most challenging thing for me to think about was the concept of historical evidence. And the CU professor listed several examples of like, oh, can you show evidence for this? Or how do you prove this through Christianity? And identifying as Christian, working through those and actually putting further thought into them instead of just shrugging them off. So.
Absolutely, yeah. One of the things that I would challenge myself and try to think about and find answers to is where do I fit in all that? Where do I fit in religion? Where do I fit in understanding my thoughts as a human being? And where does that fit in with the grand scale of the whole big what is life? So, yeah.
That one experience or one spiritual connection could change someone's life. And I've ran into people in the streets or in the middle of the campus coming up to me, and they say, "Can I share my experience?" And I said, "Okay," because I always like to listen. And like they talk about that, like in their room one night, like connecting with God, and that completely changed them. So, yeah, I do agree. And then I also do hope myself to become religious one day, because I feel like it is something. I just don't want to be fake about it, you know? Like, if it's going to happen, I want it to actually happen. And so, like, I'm just hoping maybe one day it does happen. So, awesome. Thanks.